What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Parrot Press. The big question everybody is asking is who starts in goal for the Netherlands? And to be quite honest, nobody knows yet. We're all waiting on that press conference to say, yes, Bijlo's the number one, or Pazvir's the number one, or even the third goalkeeper. I can't even think of his name at the moment, but he could be number one. Who knows? They're all 8 points at the moment. And in my last video, I was saying that he's a risk at the moment with this team, with Bijlo and Van Dijk as that pair, because I've got no concerns about Van Dijk. However, if Bijlo doesn't start, I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble because my second goalkeeper doesn't start either. So then all of a sudden, you've only got 4 players, and I think that you need 5 players every single match day to be in with a run in at winning in your private leagues, or obviously overall as well. So today I wanted to talk about my backup plan and a few other players that I've been looking at, a second draft almost that I'm tinkering with, and that backup plan might even become plan A. But we're gonna talk through a few players and who's made it into that team. First off, just a little bit of information for those who don't know. Bijlo has been, I think he's number 22 maybe, but anyway, the most important thing is Pazvir has actually been given the number 1 shirt. And also in the team photo, he was in the middle of the goalkeepers, which is another sign that he is number 1. But apparently, Louis van Gaal said that that he only got the number 1 shirt because he was the oldest. I don't know how true that is. He said that he doesn't lie in his press conferences and things like that. But it just puts that another little bit of doubt whether Bijlo is going to be the number 1. And they haven't got a friendly before they kick off their World Cup as well. Some of the squads and some of the clubs have, and I'll come on to that in a minute because it impacts what I'm thinking about with Portugal as well. However, you might notice that Kimmich made his way into my squad from my previous video. Basically, I made up some points from moving from Modric to him by lessening by reducing the amount of points that I was spending on my bench players. So I upgraded to Kimmich because I was seeing him in a lot of teams, and basically it worried me, it scared me. So I got Kimmich in, especially for his first game against Japan. We're going to talk about another German player as well that I kind of missed in terms of how many points he was, and I was quite surprised how cheap he was as well. Kimmich come on with their friendly as well. Did he get the assist, or was that the other player? I'm not too sure, but he come on, went into that centre mid position and dominated as usual. But they only won 1-0. What else to tell you about this team before we move on? Big news. Obviously, everybody's well aware now. Well, or if you're not, you 100% should be. Your bench matters. Now, everybody was going for like the 5-pointers who wouldn't play and would probably get knocked out straight away. However, if you do tie with somebody, it goes on the amount of points that your bench has got. Now, I don't know if people are taking this too serious because you're not going to tie with too many people, in my opinion. I might be totally wrong, but in my opinion, especially when new players start to come into the game, when you've built up some XP on some players. For example, I'm going to play Messi 3 games for the first 3 games, and he's probably going to be my captain in all 3 games. Then if somebody we get 50 points or whatever it is when we go through to the after the group stages, if somebody then gets him in, I've already built XP up on Messi, so I'm probably going to score more points than them anyway, and I don't think benches matter. Might be wrong. Let me know down below if I'm totally out of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to try and get some starters in the bench. It would be silly not to. However, I'm not all of a sudden going to be taking out some of my key players to get in some mediocre bench players. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the players that I'm talking about up here. So, interesting one in goal. So Dane St. Clair, the number 1 Canadian goalkeeper, Crepau, was injured, but I still don't think that Dane St. Clair is their goes to number 1. I think that's another player, and that was confirmed almost by the friendly that they've had either this afternoon or last night. Can't remember which one it is. But there is another goalkeeper that I'm quite interested in, and that is if this actually loads up. Come on. come on, is Danny Ward. Reason being is that Hennessy has been starting in goal for Wales, but Danny Ward is now the number one at Leicester, and he could be coming in and taking that spot for Wales. Now, they could also get through the group. That's totally possible as well. So I think I'd go with Danny Ward there. The other goalkeeper, there's two goalkeepers that I was thinking about here. One is no surprise, one being Diego Costa. But I do want to wait for the friendly that Portugal have got tonight, because I don't think he's as a shoe-in as everybody thinks he is with Rio Patricio as well. They've kind of shared some of the Portugal games. I would say that Diego Costa, if I had to put some money on it, will be the number one and will start. But yeah, I'm just going to see what happens in the friendly tonight. If he starts and he plays the 90, then yeah, I think he's number one. The other goalkeeper that I didn't actually realise was the same as 13 points is Manuel Neuer. Like, one of the greatest goalkeepers that's probably ever played. Maybe that's bigging him up too much, but I think the way, the modern way of him playing with his feet, how good he is, his longevity at Bayern Munich, what he's won at Germany as well. He's only 13 points, and they've got some good fixtures. I mean, it's not really why people are getting Kimmich in, because Kimmich is Kimmich. However, Germany have got an okay group. So Manuel Neuer is an interesting one. But as we're talking about a plan B here and a backup, let's go ahead and let's put Diego Costa in there. So I've left Matty Cash as my defender in there. And apologies for this running so slow at the moment. I'm downloading some other stuff. I'm downloading Warzone 2 for those Call of Duty players out there. Anyway, Matty Cash, I'll leave him in there. I think he's good for 6 points. So if I'm getting in a Portugal defender, just like I've done with Netherlands, I want a Portugal goalkeeper. Sorry, I want a Portugal defender, and I think the only one that you've got to talk about is Cancelo. Now, I've seen Cancelo in a ton of people's in drafts. So nothing really to say about him. He's a great fullback. He can obviously get involved. Him against Van Dijk, I think they'll do similar in terms of points. They're both a threat going forward and playing for some good sides with some good fixtures as well. So Cancelo goes in there. Moving on to midfielders, and this is where I change, because if you watched the previous video, and if you haven't, go back and give that a watch as well. But I had two premium forwards, let's call it. One definitely a premium, and the other one was a little bit lower in terms of points, but still obviously a very, very good player. Now, this is where I've changed it. I would go for two midfielders here. I would bring back Modric, who was in my other side. Again, Croatia, very good side. Modric turns up, set pieces, blah, blah, blah. Can score hundreds as well. Get some good AA in there and dominates the midfield. And then I would bring in Christian Eriksen as well. My fear, call it a fear. I mean, I worry that France is potentially not going to be as good as what everybody thinks. Looking at their previous results, looking at their weaker midfield without Pogba and Kante. Don't get me wrong, they've got some good players coming in. However, they're not as good as they once were, and there's some questions around their back line as well. Lloris, I mean, I'm a Spurs fan. Lloris has been a little bit hit and miss this season. I'm not sure. Whereas Denmark, I really like Denmark. I'm a massive fan of Eriksen. I'm a massive fan of Højbjerg. Schmeichel seems to make saves when people disregard him as a goalkeeper sometimes. So he plays out in France now. But I think he's a very solid goalkeeper. You've got Christensen at the back as well. You've got Anderson, who plays for Palace, who is a really, really good player. I really like Denmark, and they're outsiders, but they're a really good side, and I think that they actually beat France in that second game. And what I don't really want to be doing is having a Denmark player and a France. I don't want teams that play each other, because then who am I rooting for? I'm rooting for, if it's a defender and a forward, what am I doing? A defender last minute tackle and a forward scores a hat trick or something? I don't know. So I'd rather just be rooting for one team and one player. And when I look at this, so far, and I've got a Portugal stack with Cancelo who's capable of the hundreds. You've got Modric in there as well. You've got Eriksen who's on all of them set pieces that I've said Modric. He's on penalties, free kicks. He's going to play 90. He's on corners. He can score. For fun, really, as a midfield player. He's left and right footed, long shots, getting in the box, all of those things. And I don't know. I mean, I'm comparing these two at the moment with the other team that I had against Kimmich. And can these two outscore Kimmich for their country? Yeah. Can they score the same as him? Yeah. And I just like having them in there, to be quite honest with you. I think they play for really good, solid countries, and they're in a good team. So moving on, what does that mean? I've got 28 points left. So obviously, Messi, he just comes in. There's no way I'm not playing with him, and then I'd have to find a 5 point forward in there, and I'm not going to put you the pain of trying to find one. He would just go in there. So that looks like with Messi, with the armband, Modric, Eriksen, Cancelo, and Diego Costa, with Cash, who starts on my bench, Danny Ward, who could be a starter, and then, I'm throwing away somebody up top there. So I've only got 2 out of 3. But I think most people are going to do that anyway, whether they go for the 2 outfielders. I know there's the Polish midfielder who's only 6 points, who starts, and he starts in an attacking position as well. But I like the team. I like this team a lot because I just like the players that I've got. Does it beat this team? It all depends on that goalkeeper. I wish we knew. I really do wish we knew. I wish they had a friendly or something like that, which would confirm it. But yeah, losing Griezmann, he turns up for his country. I know that. Everything that I bigged him up in the other video, I don't know. I'm doubting myself there. Kimmich is Kimmich. He's always going to score well. Van Dijk, they've got great fixtures. The other thing that worries me about Netherlands is that their manager could do anything at any time. If they win their first 2 games and they're guaranteed somehow to win the group, or they only need a point, does Van Dijk play? At least with these guys, because they've got some tough games in there. Say Denmark and France draw. Eriksen plays the 3rd game, no doubt. Messi plays all 3 for me. Cancelo plays all 3, and so does Modric. They're not going to get dropped. So as long as you've banked to the number 1, you're in. Basically, you're in with a shot. With these, if I go with this side and Bijlo is not the number 1 and he doesn't play, I'm with 4 players. Then if I don't win a decent enough card that I'm thinking, they're going to score okay. Say I win, or say I have to pay Matty Cash for the 3rd game over Virgil van Dijk because there's news that he's going to be rested. Again, that's not a great fixture because I think their 3rd game might be Argentina, potentially. I'd have to check that. I'm not too sure. But I know that he's got a tough game. All of a sudden, you're kind of out of the running. You're just wishing, hoping and luck to a player who's not really capable of scoring amazing scores. And I feel as though this side just gives me a bit more balance. It gives me, if I do really well, I could, get one of these premium forwards. It's not likely. If I win a midfielder, who do I want to play over Eriksen or Modric? From a midfield point of view, maybe Kimmich and Kevin De Bruyne. Is there anybody else? I don't think so. None of these. I wouldn't play Bellingham. I wouldn't play Foden. Di Maria, maybe. He was on fire in their friendly. Frankie de Jong, no. De Paul, no. Bruno, I couldn't anyway if I've got 2 Portugal players. There's nobody else in here. Højbjerg I really like. I do really like Højbjerg. And potentially, maybe I could go from Eriksen to Højbjerg and then get a 6-pointer up front of somebody who plays. I don't know if they exist. But yeah, no one. So if I bag a midfielder as my reward after match day 1, unless it's Kimmich to De Bruyne, I'm not really going to have an issue. If I bag somebody like Neymar up top, then I've got to leave out Eriksen or Modric. However, that does give me some really good depth. And as I said, Denmark have got France in their 2nd game, so there's a possibility there that I could rest Eriksen. Other players that I considered, no one, to be honest, it was just that goalkeeper spot. As I said, if I'm going for a Portugal goalkeeper, I would get Cancelo in. If I was going for Neuer in goal, there's not a German defender that really stands out for me. And also, I don't think that their back line is actually guaranteed at the moment. You've got a lot of people in there, from Ginter, Rudiger, Schlottenberg, however you say his name. You don't really know who the fullbacks are at the moment as well. So, yeah, there's a risk there, but I just know Cancelo is going to play. So yeah, the other thing, maybe looking at this, Argentina's defence, if you wanted to go for a Martinez and maybe an Otamendi or something like that at the back, but then again, you're losing a lot of points. And if you go for an Argentina stack, you're not going to have Messi, because I think you can only have two from one country as well. So I am pretty set on the team from the previous video, which I spoke about, or this team. I just need to find out what's going on with that Netherlands goalkeeper, as everybody is. So if anyone hears any information, drop it in the comment. There's like 40 or so comments in the other video as well, so drop it in there. Let's share the love, let's share the news, Discord as well, etc. But if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see some more, hit that subscribe button. Good luck, guys. I probably won't do another video between now and the deadline, maybe just after that. However, it's going to be either Team A or Team B, as I've already said. It's just if I can find the information out around that Netherlands goalkeeper. So good luck, guys, and I will see you in the future.